To me, this was quite a shock uh, of this girl. I think she's only about 21, maybe 22. But obviously, she's really quite a knockout. This is Maya, and I'm not sure, it's sort of the beginning tapes that I've included off to the right-hand side for you. Do listen to this interview that Kathy Belch conducted with her. It's this girl has good recall, and we learn quite a few things from this. We're getting a broader picture of Casey, and keep in mind that what this girl is relating that Casey said to her or wrote to her is all for the version that we give to our fellow inmates. It is always self-serving, always self-serving. And what is omitted is, of course, the motive and any admission of killing the child, little Kaylee. And also what's missing is any mention of incest. Now, this is not a mistake. All victims of incest do not want to brag about that. It takes a long, long time to be able to, for them to admit that they were so unworthy, so mistreated that because this is an admission that you're nothing to your parents. So any incest is omitted because that's not a plus. That does not enhance anybody's reputation. But also what is interesting is that when the mention of chloroform comes up, she's unfamiliar with it. And that's not a surprise. I think most people would not be able to answer the simple question of what is chloroform. I think most people would not know because we have passed that time where chloroform would have been a common word in our vocabulary. But here we have a direct, now it's hearsay, of course, but that admission that Casey knocked her child out in order to play, to go out. What's very chilling to me is that it seems that this could be a common thing for young mothers to do that are desperate. And that's scary. We're going to have a lot of babies, children, dead from chloroform overdosing. I'm convinced of that. It's really scary. She's interesting in that she seems to have rehabilitated herself. Now, of course, it's kind of a cruel fact of life that many times prisoners really go straight wonderfully in prison, and the moment they're out, they go back to their old ways. We all know that. But also important that Maya tells us about how Casey never cried. And, maybe once at the beginning, but that was it. But she never cried in her cell. She never saw her cry. And when she was told that they found little Kaylee's remains, there was little to no reaction, contrary to what we have been told in the news. But consider that flat effect, this inability to attach to other people whether, whatever the reason, whether it's she doesn't want to trust anybody, that it doesn't matter. We see this inability to attach even to her own flesh and blood. We also see that her mother, she is completely turned off by her mother, and yet she wants her father and brother to like her. Those are the only people. It isn't that she cares for them. She still wants them to be useful to her. I don't know if I can, if you follow that. But you find this over and over again in victims of incest. They want to look good in the eyes of the very offenders, the abusers themselves. And time after time you hear, the really sad thing is, the thing that hurt them the most is when their mother didn't back them up and didn't believe them. That was the most crushing blow of all. And I warn every mother, if you ever hear of that, you must follow through. You must do your investigating as best you can in your confrontations, and because it damages that girl for the rest of her life, that her mother said she was lying and she was a prostitute, and all that. So anyway, I don't want you to forget one other point. Remember that so far we know we're dealing with a psychopath that is unable to attach to people, and really is doesn't care about the consequences, knows the difference between right and wrong, and doesn't care. But remember the house. Remember Amy wanting to, thought she was going to go and be living with Casey, and Casey had invited her and had told her the mother was going to give her the house. And that tells me that's a real siren's call, that she was planning on somehow doing away with mom and dad so that she could get the house. This is so common. Once a psychopath is breaking away from the family, they want the house because they realize they'll never be able to earn it, and they don't want to earn it. They'd much rather take it. But anyway, that's all for now. Oh, on little Kaylee, that case is such a mess. We have all these people being accused of, or having the fingers pointed at and nobody comes up with why. So all of these young people were stoned out of their minds, and for reasons still kept from us, we don't know the motive. And I'm waiting for something more solid to stand on than a cinder block.